What's up, everyone? Kevin Oak here. It's deadlift day. We're about 9 weeks out from the Reebok Record Breakers meet, so of course this is kind of off season for me, which means I'm doing sumos. For the most part, I stick to pulling from the ground until about 500 pounds. After that, once I'm in the sixes and up, that's when I usually switch to the block. But I did want to talk about a couple of key things to distinguish between like a correct sumo stance and kind of pulling more of a wide stance conventional deadlift. So one of the key things, as you can see right here, is the shin. You want a very vertical shin when you pull sumo, and you want the bar right up against your shins. What I see a lot of people do, which would be more of a conventional pull, is they get the bar a little further back and they have their knees kind of tracking over the bar like a conventional pull. That's something you want to kind of stick away from. Also, with kind of how in line your feet are, you want your knees basically pointing outwards. You want your hips open. You want your upper body as vertical as possible when you're starting, and you want your hips as far under you as possible. That's kind of where the efficiency in a sumo deadlift comes from. Once you kind of get that down, the next key, which is like a huge cue in sumo, is you want to get the bar moving as quickly as possible, and you want to lock your knees out as quickly as possible. So what you're trying to do, once you get that bar moving, which a lot of times will take a second or two, you want to accelerate the bar through your knees as fast as possible, and you want to lock your knees out as fast as possible, even before you lock your hips out. So a lot of people, and this is kind of what distinguishes a sumo from a conventional. With conventional, most of the time you're trying to lock your knees and your upper body, your hips, at the same time. Just because if you kind of lock your knees first and you're hanging forward, then it makes it exceptionally hard to get your shoulders back. With sumo, you want to lock your knees out as fast as possible. You want to accelerate the bar through your knees to make it easier to get to lockout. But the tendency is going to be for your knees to lock out before your hips do. So that's just a couple of keys I see a lot of people have issues with. I still do, although I've gotten a lot better at accelerating the knees at accelerating the bar through my knees. I still don't always fully lock my knees out as quickly as I need to. And when I don't, you'll see a lot of the times it makes lockout that much slower. But getting to these, the goal was to work up to 350 kilos, which is 771 pounds, 4 max reps. I thought I could hit about 3 or 4 on this set, as you can see right here. Yeah, as you can see, only got 2 reps. I was just off balance the entire time. I definitely could have gotten 3 or 4, I think, if I didn't fall backwards after the second one. But I didn't feel like doing the 771 over again, so I just went up to 804, which I've done 800 before, but I've never done 800 plus for more than a single. So as you can see here, the first rep was kind of slow because I didn't accelerate the bar fast enough through my knees. Although I got it to my knees at least. And usually on the sumo, if you can at least get the bar to your knees, you'll be able to grind it out. But the key is to really accelerate it through your knees. But I was able to get it for a double. So that's an all-time PR for sumo. So sumos at the moment are feeling, I'd say, okay. Definitely could be better. But I do still think there's potential for me to become a sumo puller in the future. I still think my conventional definitely beats out sumo, but it's getting closer and closer. At some point, I feel like sumo will be stronger. I just still need to work on getting my hips and my hamstrings stronger. Switching to low bar definitely helped a lot, I could tell, with my hamstrings as well as my hips. My deadlift was up a lot my last training cycle, which was great. I pulled a 23-pound PR on the platform, competition PR, so things are getting better. Things are certainly working in the right direction. After the sumos, I decided to get into barbell back raises. Usually I do this on a GHR, but that's up at SMG Powerlifting. This is at Coliseum Gym right here, so I use the 45 degree. The Felt a little different. I think I prefer the GHR, but nonetheless, same movement, still hits the same areas. Obviously, you're focusing on your hips, your glutes, and your lower back. With this angle, I definitely felt it in my lower back more, whereas with the GHR, I think I feel it in my hamstrings and my glutes more. But yeah, it's kind of these. They're pretty straightforward. Obviously, you want your heel right up against that back pad, and you want to feel yourself pulling basically with your hamstrings and your glutes. You don't want to feel like you're pulling with your upper body. Once you get your upper body tight and you're holding a bar, you want your upper back to basically be passive in the movement where you're just holding it, and you want to be flexing your glutes and your hamstrings as hard as you possibly can. I've seen other people do these. Obviously, Pete Rubish is known for doing these. A lot of people just do them where they go up and down, up and down. I prefer to do a pause at the top where I'm really just flexing my glutes, my hamstrings, my lower back as hard as I possibly can. That's just the way I prefer to do it. Obviously, there's plenty of ways to go about certain exercises, but I do that just to really exaggerate the feeling of it and to really put that pressure and to feel that tension in my glutes and my hamstrings. I worked up to what would be a PR, although I don't know if I should really compare it to the weight that I do when I use the GHR. But definitely felt hard. I mean, I was walking kind of funny after these. I had a pretty bad lower back pump. Hamstrings and glutes also were killing me. But that's how it goes. Felt good. Got working. Ended up hitting 245 for 10 reps. After that, hit some hamstring curls, some calves, and just did some other back accessory work, and that's a workout.